Hi guys, Ronda Winstead here with you. Oh, welcome to my channel, to the video. It's good to be here with you. I hope you are doing well. Let's get started. Okay, what we're doing today is we are finishing up Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 1. I have finally put my signatures together. I have my book. We're just going to stitch in the signatures. I thought I would bring you along for that. I don't normally do that. So let's just get started. Okay, so I have my 3 signatures to go in, and I have marked where they're going to go. And I'm just going to explain that for just a minute for those of you that have not done this or that don't do it very often. So what I did, number 1, my book, and this is a hardbound cover, and you can see I didn't do a fabulous job here. I could have taken this up further, and I may dab a little bit of paint or something like that to tone that down, but maybe not, because I've got all this that shows too, and I'm actually totally fine with that. But what I did was I took my cover, let's have a different cover here that you can see. This was my original book that I was going to use, but it was going to show, and I decided that either I would put some like lace or something, and I didn't really want to do that, so I just found a little larger book cover. But what I do is the first layer to strengthen would be I put Tyvek paper. I cut it, I glue my, let's see if there's another one up here that I could even can't even really show you with this one because this has already been glued a first try. But take your book pages out, and you're left with, okay, here's one. So here's my little bit of what's left of my spine. And so what I would do first is I would take some glue and I would go ahead and glue around here and anything else that's lifting up. I'd glue that and press it down neatly. That would be the first thing. That's number 1. Number 2, then I would get some Tyvek. You can, I was just using some old mail envelopes that I had, sometimes receive mail and whatnot in those, and they work well. Or you can buy Tyvek as well, and it's really, really, let me see if I can find one here for you to show you. I don't know. Well, here's something that's left over from one of my postal ones. So it's really, really sturdy. In fact, it's really difficult to rip. You can cut it, but ripping it's almost impossible. So I took a piece of that. I cut it so that it was a little bit wider than my gap. So on this one, I would measure this and say, like, I'd probably do this about 4.5 inches wide on one like this. And I would go ahead and glue that on, glue that with a nice strong glue, or you could also use, if you have really good sturdy double-sided tape. And that's what I have used on this. And I've also used that on this. This is the first, or the second thing that you do. And then when that is down, then I cover it with fabric. You don't have to. You could do decorative, whatever you want to do. This is where it's kind of like, it's just up to you as to what kind of look you're going for. And if you want to cover your insides, you may want to do that on the fly leaf on the front and back cover before you glue this down. But this has been glued. And for that, I used a thicker, like this is the Ultimate Crafter's Pick. I don't know. There are different types. Just a good glue, covered it nicely, and then put this down and then let this dry completely. And of course, I did the insides. These are Rachel's, most of these are Rachel's images. These are not. I don't know where I got these. It was a digital a few years ago, and I was just thumbing through some things, and there were these two. It was like, oh, meant to be. And I just think it's pretty. So that's what I did for my cover. And I put glue here as well, and put down my fabric on both sides. Now, you may want to keep this. You don't have to cover both sides, because with gluing and putting your Tyvek, that will be sturdy enough. And then when you add another piece of either a decorative paper or you put some fabric, that's going to make it plenty sturdy for, the spine. So that's really optional. Okay, so this is where we're at. Now I want to put these in, and as you can see, I have done a little bit of measuring, and I've got some dots. So what I did, I have 3 signatures, and I just spaced and marked my, where I wanted to put my signatures. I took my ruler here, and say, for instance, now this is not a fabulous, wow, this is the greatest tip in the whole wide world, but it is a tip. I take my ruler and whatever it measures. Okay, so if I'm technical on this book measures 8¼ inches. So, but I want to work with it being easier. So I move it to where I have the same amount of space on both ends, and then I can just go with my 8 inches, and 4 is my middle, and 2 or 2½, so it's just a little bit easier to mark. That's just something that I like to do. So what I did was I measured, well, first of all, I drew a line. I put this in the center, and this, you can see this nicely fits right in there, and I have 3 signatures, and so I just drew a little line on both sides, and then I measured to get the half here and did 1 in the middle. So it takes a little bit of measuring, but by doing this, then it's really nice and accurate. So, okay. So let's just, for instance, we're just going to straddle that, and then the 1 inch is going to be right there. And so I did my center line. So I just did that. So we have our 3 lines, and then I want to get these So what I did here was I just went up 1.5 inches and across on my lines, I made the dots. And this is where I'm going to poke my holes to do my stitching. And then I turned it the other way around, measured 1.5 inches, and then on my lines, I did my dots. And then she said, have to get a different ruler. And then I went ahead and measured and did halfway in between this measurement and this. I didn't have to have, in other words, I didn't say, well, I'm going to do 2 inches and 2 inches and whatever. You just need a ruler and a pencil to just do it as you go. So when I do the bottom and I do the top, then I know I want the center of those two, and then I do my dots. So then everything should line up nicely. But that's not the only thing you have to do. Then we come and we do the same thing on each signature, because these are not perfect. And in fact, this one is a little bit taller, about 1/4 inch taller than, I don't know how I did it. But it'll be fine, it'll still be centered. So this is the center, and I have mine were 2.5 inches apart. So here I did my center, and then 2.5 inches. So I did it a little bit differently on this one, because if I measured from the bottom up like I did on here, this would not line up because it's not as tall, see? So on this one, I take the center, I measure to get my center, I mark my center, and then I measured how far these are apart. Does that make sense? And then I took that measurement and marked both sides. So this is not 1.5 inches, it's a little bit less, but it will make it so that it is centered between the cover. And I'll do the same for these other two. We'll do that. But I've got this first one ready to go, so let's go ahead and get our holes punched. So I've got an awl, and we shall just get going, get these lined up, and we shall go ahead and poke through, and that should give us a nicely lined up so if I've done this correctly, and I hope I have, then these should line up nicely and that will fit. So what I'm going to do while I'm poking holes is I'm going to go ahead and finish poking all the holes on the spine, just to make sure, because it will be a little bit more difficult to work with once I have a signature stitched in. So we'll just take care of that step right now. And when we get done, we will have a finished Journal of Stitchery Volume 1. I am so excited. And I am planning on, you're going to see this, I will still be on vacation when you view this video. We're getting ready, just got through decorating Grandma's cookies. Okay, so let's go ahead and stitch this first one in. And I'm giving myself lots of extra. They say, what is it, three times? But I'm doubling up. And so I did 6. And you actually don't have to do it that way. You can keep it attached. I know that Rachel does hers. She just keeps it attached. And it works beautifully. So she doesn't waste any of the thread or yarn that you're using to go through. Okay, so now I decide, do I want my strings on the inside or the outside? And I think for this particular time of project, I am going to keep it on the inside. So we start in the middle and we pull through, leaving a good amount, and either go to the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter which, and poke through your holes, find your, come up through, let's see, okay, and then we're going to, whoa, wait a minute, come back here. Don't run away with me. All right. Let's do that a little differently. Now you can do one of two things on, whoops, sorry. I apologize. My heat gun got caught in the cord in my chair. It wasn't on, so it's not a problem. I can either go through here, the center, and do the same thing, catching this one, or I can go down through here. Let's go ahead and go back the way we did for this one, and then we shall go through the other hole. Okay, and I've got lots more, you can see, than what I'm going to need. So that is something to keep in mind if you want to save, if, you know, things like this, because it can be an expense. This will probably last me more than a lifetime, and so I'm not concerned about that at all. But I got a little bit of, I don't know what I've got going here. What is that? It's like a hitch in my get-along. A hitch in the get-along. Oh, I know what it is. It's where I have actually caught a little bit of the yarn or thread on one side, and it's pretending like it doesn't like it. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that back right there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is to go under, and I'm going to tie this as taut as I can in a square knot. So we will, there's one, and then we will go the opposite direction, 2, and I will just, I'm going to leave some threads on there in case I decide I want to put little charms or something for now, I don't, but I'm going to leave it just in case. So there we have our first signature in our book. Okay, number 2. And this one we will measure. I didn't do that without you on this one. So this is 8 inches, so we will go 4 inches. There's our center, 2.5, and it was just a smidgen past the 2.5. So there's a hole, and then 2.5 and just a smidgen. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. This way it didn't matter that this is taller than this one, because it will line up the way it is supposed to. Okay, let's try this one the other way. I'm going to try Rachel's way on this one. So let's see. We want to do the double. So we'll go ahead, and here is our second signature. I don't know about you guys, but I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this. It has just been the most fun ever. And I'm just really very grateful for the Roxy girls, the Roxy sisters, and obviously their mama comes into play. Uh-oh, what did I do? What did I do? I wonder. Wait. Okay. Okay. Bag this. Okay. Scrap that. We're gonna start over. There. Okay. I did that wrong. I only need to do it this way. This is fine. This will give me my double. The way I was doing it, it was going to be quadruple. Let's try this again. Going from the center, and we'll go, here's our signature. We'll go up. Much better. And then we shall, I'll pull this a little bit, and we'll go down in the center here, come up. Let's see, we want to make sure we've got plenty of thread. Okay. Back down. You can see how it really does help to have your holes made, you know, that gives it that extra. Okay. So, well, let's see. I think I want there. Okay, so now I'm going underneath, and there I have my and actually this doesn't have a sharp point, so I'm not worried about it poking me. And there's our square knot. And I will just trim that a little bit. And there's a little bit here, but it's a lot less than what it was on the first one that I did. Okay, so signature number 2. And now we will measure our last signature. And this one is, so that's a little bit less. So I'm centering that. It wasn't quite 8 inches. So I'm bringing it down to where there's a little overlap of my ruler here and here. And then marking my center. So there's the center. And then I'm measuring 2.5 and just a smidgy-diggy. Spell that, guys. 2.5 smidgy-diggy right there. And we'll do our holes. And we are almost done. And then I'll do a flip through for you. And we will call this a video. Done, finished with Journal of Stitchery Volume 1. Yay! Seriously, I have not done anything like this for a very long time. So this has been super, super fun. All right, starting in the center, finding our center. And we will leave, let's leave about that much. Coming back. And we'll find our hole here. And we will go down. Through the center. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I know it's fiddly. It's like, it looks really awkward. It's not as bad as it looks, though. I don't know, how bad does it look? Okay, and then we will go ahead and go underneath for that. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Where are we? All right. And then we shall tie this. And probably the easiest would be to go ahead and, instead of doing what I did and going in the center, the easiest would most likely be to, what did I do? All right. Take that back. Would be to go from the bottom to the top and then back down through the center. That's probably going to be the easiest for you. This is another option. Okay. Ooh, and we did even better this time. Little bit. Okay. So, and this is just I think this is like a nylon cording that I have here. And so, we are done. Done. And see how nicely in between we've got space. I'm just really happy with it. Okay. Here is our flip through. As you can see, I did a collage here and I put a little label here. This book belongs to Ronda Winstead. It was made in 2022. Journal of Stitchery. Here are the original stitches that I did. And we turn the page, and here is January, the bunny. Loved it. This was just super fun. And then February's, I had a hard time, I remember, coming up with February's. It finally came together, and I love it. Absolutely love it. And you can see there's a nice space in between here. And then here we have March. And I'll share a little secret with you. This block is upside down. See my flower stems? Oh, mercy, mercy. You know what? It is what it is. It gives it character, right? We'll see if my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, you know, what they have to say about that. And then we move over to April. This was one of my favorite blocks, using the old quilts. Oh, yum, yum, yum. And adding just all these pretty flowers, roses. Just loved doing this block. That was super fun. Well, I love doing them all. Then we have May, and that was the bird. And I did an I Spy background, which I kind of love, which is a quilting dilly. And then my last block, June, of the challenge, and I just really enjoyed doing the bullion stitch. It was so much fun. And I was dreading it. I didn't tackle it until the last block. And then I had these extra, I had one block, but I needed another signature, so I needed 3 more pages. So then I have gone ahead and did my stitches again with background fabrics. I'm really feeling a little bad that I messed this up the way I did, but it's okay. I marked this with just not a waterproof pen. And so when I ironed the back of it, I spritz it a little bit with water, and and there you go. And then I brought in another piece of quilt to finish it off. I thought that would be just appropriate and fabulous. And I've added these doilies to it. This is, sorry, not a doily, handkerchief. This is a corner of a handkerchief. This is a cutout from a handkerchief. This is vintage old antique lace, and then little bits of fabric and some more vintage lace. And then I just did the canther or running stitch, seed stitch here. And then I have a little bit of collage on my back cover, and I have a pocket, and I'm going to write about the process of this journal of stitchery, and then I'm going to keep that in the pocket. So I still have that to do, but for all intents and purposes, this is done. So I'm super happy about it. I'm super excited. And I just wanted to share that with you. I love you guys, and I hope that you're having a fabulous day. I have no doubt that I'm having a good time on vacation. Hope so anyway. But it'll be wonderful to see you again and get back home and get back to doing things as well. All right. Until next video, please have a fabulous day. Bye-bye now.